We are on field at Keyworth and Hamtramck after a disappointing 3-1 loss in the Open Cup. I'm Jared Stace. Norris Howard, this was really a tale of two halves.
Yeah, the first half actually completely belonged to DCFC. Yazid Matthews with the early goal. Fantastic strike, actually. But the rest of the team supported him very well. You saw a lot of attack from the wings. O'Neal did very well on this right-hand side to get balls into the box and take his man one-on-one. And it was actually fantastic to see the midfield and the attack really start to gel in that first half. But I don't know what happened in the locker room or what kind of conversations were had, but it seemed like after about the 50th minute or so, all of that went out the window. You saw 11 men behind the ball, and you saw Minnesota take advantage of that. 3 goals in quick succession over the course of about 11 minutes, and at that point, the game was out of reach.
Fletcher, Sharpe, it feels like the wheels came off the train.
Yeah, I mean, Motor City, so I'll use a metaphor for a car. The first half was like when, you're driving the car, you're a little bit younger, hitting the gas. Second half, they hit 60, 70, 80, and all of a sudden forgot they need to keep pressing the gas and slowed all the way down, and Minnesota caught up and made them punish.
Yeah, what do you think the big difference was?
Honestly, I think it's a shift in tactics. They shifted from being more offensive, more kind of in the middle, to being more defensive. And unfortunately for them, they're playing against a younger, quicker team that did not want to lose to a team from the division below them. And I guess the metaphor is like a turtle. You sink into your shell. They broke the shell. At that point, there's nothing to defend anymore.
Norris Howard, what can we learn?
You got to press the attack for this team. I think what we saw from DCFC is that when they have a lot of confidence, when they're allowed to kind of freely express themselves and be on the front foot, this team is actually really tough to stop. We forget, Minnesota is a division above DCFC. They play in the MLS. This is a professional team, and they were able to come out and dominate them for a half. But what we were able to also glean from this is that whatever the tactics are on the defensive side of the ball, they're not working. This team is still giving up crosses from the wings. This team is still not being able to clear their lines very effectively when they're in pressure situations. And unfortunately, we saw it not happen once, not twice, but thrice.
Well, it is a repeat script, isn't it, Fletcher?
Yeah, they've given up 9 goals now this entire season from the regular season and the Open Cup. All 9 goals, the ball goes into the box, the ball doesn't get cleared out, other team scores soon after. And, I understand, again, if U.S. Open Cup, playing against an MLS team, if you lose to them because they're just better than you, that's understandable. But to lose on goals like that, where they're just U12 goals, where the ball gets out, hoof it up the field as much as you can, and they just don't, and they get punished for it. And it gets a little bit repetitive and a little bit tiresome if you're a fan.
I think we need to start having a serious conversation about shuffling things up, because this has not been a great open to this season. I was really willing to give them a lot more room, a couple of games in, but these are repeated patterns over and over again. Norris, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Skye and GZ play together. I would love. Skye seems to be, as Fletcher says all the time, really finesse player, great on the ball, able to put in that final ball. And Yazid, big body, can play with his back to goal, able to take a shot when the shot needs to be taken. And I would like to see the two of them maybe interplay a little bit. And we haven't seen that this season so far. So maybe that's just one suggestion that I think. But also, I just think this team needs to be unshackled a little bit. I think they are confined, they're constrained, and when they're forced to play with so many men behind the ball, you're not seeing those skill players be able to go out and make the big time moments and make the big time plays. We're just not seeing that.
And I think defensively they need to change something as well. Even when they got up 1-0, you still saw moments where crosses were getting into the box and they were not being defended properly. And that's been a thing throughout the entire season. And you just can't have that happen. You cannot beat teams if you're going to let easy crosses go into the box and just hope that the people miss.
So you have a little bit of a different opinion on the defense than some people, because I think a lot of people think the defense is really strong with Detroit City. It feels like you have a little bit of a different take.
On paper, the defense is fine. Numbers look great, but the numbers also don't show that Nate is working his tail off every game. And yeah, a clean sheet is the whole team, but if your keeper's making 20 saves for that clean sheet, your defense was not doing a good job, because he should not have to work this hard. I know today he only made 4 saves, but he had a lot of moments where the ball was in his box and they were trying to clear it out and they just couldn't. And while it doesn't count as a save and it goes down as maybe a foul the other way, that's still a lot of work that your keeper has to do, a lot of tension and pressure he's under, just because you can't get the ball to the box.
Yeah.
All right, well, onward we go. Next match, hopefully things are better. Of course, more analysis, more thoughts on the Daily Detroit podcast, and we'll see you around Detroit.